The concept of America First has always been something that has stood out to me as obvious. Because if we look at how other nations conduct themselves, they all put themselves first, as they should. They are, in fact, sovereign nations. They are not liabilities to us, let's say. We should not have to be taken care of, quote unquote, sovereign nations. If we are, then you might as well just give us your country. Don't take that serious, please. Please don't clip that and put that anywhere, guys. But you get what I'm saying here, all right? If we have to pay for your country to exist, all right, then you should just give it to us, right? No problem. We can handle it. But on a serious note, guys, we definitely do need to start paying for things specifically that have the ability to change the masses in America, not specifically, individuals who have never paid into the tax code, let's say, guys. And if that's what America First means, I think that's a great idea, guys, all right, to be honest, because every other country puts themselves first, as they should. Okay. Like, again, guys, if you can't maintain yourselves without another country basically paying all of your bills, then maybe you should just give us your country. But in the meantime, the name of the video is Trump puts the world on notice after America First message. This is a suggestion via a channel member. Let's check it out.
Everyone, this is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Campagno here with my co-hosts, Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany. And also joining us today, Kennedy, host of the Kennedy Saves the World podcast, and Brian Kilmeade, Fox and Friends co-host, host of the Brian Kilmeade radio show, and host of One Nation. Now we begin with President-elect Trump showing his strength on the global stage. With just 48 days to go until his inauguration, Trump is letting the world know that he intends to put America first. Just yesterday, after the IDF confirmed the death of yet another Israeli-American hostage, Trump sent this message to Hamas. Quote, "There will be all hell to pay in the Middle East, and for those in charge who perpetrated these atrocities against humanity, those responsible will be hit harder than anybody has been hit in the long and storied history of the United States of America. Release the hostages now." And after Trump threatened a 25% tariff on Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau went down to Mar-a-Lago to speak personally with the president-elect. Here's senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy reporting on how that meeting went.
Tonight, we're getting some new details about that Trump-Trudeau dinner from two people who were at the table. We are told that when Trudeau told President-elect Trump that new tariffs would kill the Canadian economy, Trump joked to him that if Canada can't survive without ripping off the U.S. to the tune of $100 billion a year, then maybe Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau could become its governor.
Bro, listen. Okay, so I don't pre-watch videos, okay? But yeah, basically. All right, I'm telling you, if we have to give money to another place, all right, you should just become us, all right? Don't worry, we got you, okay? Give us everything you have. That's it. That's officially where I'm at, okay? Even when it comes to Israel, the same. Why are we giving money to a foreign country? I don't understand, okay? I'm just going to be honest here, okay? Nope, that has nothing to do with us. Why are we putting money over there? Why?
To which reportedly, Kilmeade, there was sort of nervous laughter in the Trudeau camp. But the reality is he drew a hard line and they went down there to try to change his mind. But his mind's not changing.
You know what's kind of, I think, kind of cool is that there's nothing better than seeing someone face to face. In a time in which everyone's talking about AI, communication, text messaging, Instagram, and that's all Kennedy talks about. More on that later. Well, I will say, Justin Trudeau says, rather than go back and forth, why don't we just meet? I love the fact that he went down there and they get to hash it out right there and walk away with things. Also, Donald Trump's doing what Kayleigh, he did every day. He starts the day with leverage. He wakes up and goes, "Oh, you want my nominees? If you don't nominate them, we're going to do it in a recess appointment. Game on." All of a sudden, people are scrambling. Then he says, "Okay, when it comes to controlling the border, I'm not going to wait and ask. I'm going to tell you right away, 25% tariffs. I don't like the way you're handling it. Oh, you have a problem?" Next thing you know, he's negotiating already. It makes people act. He's like, "I don't have a lot of time. We're going to get this done. Bottom line is, the northern border has been a mess. If you talk to Governor Sununu, he talks about the people pouring across the border.
Sununu? Is that a real person?
Drugs coming across the border. Guess what's happening now? They're using
bro, that's a fake name.
They're using high-tech equipment and planes to start monitoring the northern border because they don't want any
part
of the 25% tariffs.
Kaylee, Kilmeade invoked you. And now let's talk about specifically as well those threats. To Kilmeade's point that the president-elect...
Okay, really quickly, guys. His name is Christopher T. Sununu. That's a real name. The 82nd governor of the state of New Hampshire. He's currently serving his 4th term. That shouldn't be okay. All right. Sure thing, guys. Sununu. I'm not trying to make fun of your name, bro. I've never heard that. It just sounded like a fake name that they just made up. I fact checked everything.
Talk about specifically as well those threats. To Kilmeade's point that the president-elect means and will do good on to those Hamas responsible and those who are continuing to hold our American Israeli hostages and others.
Americans being held. Oh, do you see? That makes sense to me, okay? Again, the concept of America first, in my head at least, may be different from what other people may perceive here, okay? But yeah, you don't hold Americans under any circumstance. We're not doing that.
Without a doubt, he will make good on those promises. I can assure you. I listened to a fascinating talk by Wilbur Ross recently. He was the Commerce Secretary under Trump. He wrote a book. It's fascinating. And he talks about seeing the art of the deal up front when Trump was a businessman. And then he talks about the art of the deal coming into government. And what you're seeing now is the art of the deal working out with great efficacy. We saw this, as I mentioned last week, on May 30th, 2019. Trump said 5% tariff on Mexico unless you secure the border. 7 days later, what did Mexico do? They secured the border. That happened
25.
last term. Well, this term, you've got the art of the deal again.
No?
We were on this couch last
25.
Monday when Trump said, hey, tariffs are coming your way, not just for Canada, but for Mexico also. What happened? 3 days later, Claudia Sheinbaum, the head of Mexico there, got on the phone with Trump, and they agreed to secure the border. What happened 5 days later? Justin Trudeau gets on a plane. I don't think he would have done that absent a Truth Social, goes to Mar-a-Lago, talks with Trump. And then what do we have from Trump? A warning to Hamas, I will obliterate you off the face of the earth, I'm paraphrasing, if you don't release the hostages. That is powerful. You know why? Hamas has been dealing with Israel. They eliminated Sinwar and Sainia, the heads of Hamas. Israel then went after Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, got him. Well, guess what? Guess who's coming in addition to Israel? A new commander-in-chief named Donald J. Trump. And if you're watching Hamas, I want you to remember 2 names. Al-Baghdadi, no longer on this earth. And I want you to remember another, the head of Iran, their top general, no longer with us because of Donald J. Trump. Remember those names. Remember those examples. Soleimani is gone forever. Donald J. Trump's coming. Release the hostages.
And in addition to that, Kennedy, as President-elect Trump is showing the global world, right? He's coming out, he's sort of assuming leadership right now. But the thing is, the other world leaders are already seeing it also. So in addition to Trudeau going down there, we have, for example, French President Macron, who invited President-elect Trump to the very, very important ceremony and opening festivities for Notre Dame Cathedral, which burned savagely 5 years ago. For that event, he did not invite current President Biden. And I noted that the left-wing media sort of tried to paint it as, well, one, adulating and adoring leader is meeting another. It's actually not at all. The reality is that the globe sees President-elect Trump already as the leader, already as the commander-in-chief, and already as the representative of America that they need to do business with.
And it's interesting because you corrected yourself out of deference and protocol, saying President-elect Trump, but we've not in our lifetimes, I mean, unless someone was alive during the Cleveland administration. We haven't had a former president who's also our future president. But if we were talking about President Obama, we would call him President Obama. So I think it's appropriate to call him President Trump. I also think, for all intents and purposes, he's president right now. Yeah. He's doing far more foreign.
He's not.
Policy than
I see what you're saying,
or the
but
vice president.
Like, words still matter, though, right? I see what you did here. Absolutely, a little bit of word jumble, but president-elect. In fact, he's not president. Let's not get that confused. You cannot negate the fact that Joe Biden is in fact the president, and he is still in fact in the White House. it's president-elect until he's president.
A couple of weeks ago, when we were on the verge of World War III, with Ukraine and Russia lobbing long-range missiles into each other's countries, the vice president had her toes in the sand in Hawaii. And, the president was wandering off in the Amazon rainforest. They probably don't want him going to Paris because they don't want him wandering into, some sort of a Parisian red light district or a seedy neighborhood. They might be looking out for him, but for all intents and purposes, yes, he is the closest thing we have to a president right now. And I think that's giving a lot of world leaders
we have a president.
Reason to
He's just not
exhale.
good.
I think there is a great sense of relief. And also, back to the 51st state jab. Every dinner like that, it's not a state dinner. It is still a dinner and essentially a private residence. Every dinner should be a roast. There should be jokes. I think if that's one thing the election has shown us, jokes are back. You can make fun of people and they can make fun of you right back. Everyone can laugh about it, move on, and then when it's time to get down to brass tacks of business, they can do that maturely.
I'd rather you not make fun of me. Just for the record. I don't know what world you're living in.
An impossibility.
Okay.
And you talk about the sigh of relief that world leaders feel. I know I feel them, Harris, and I can't speak for those families who have hostages still remaining with Hamas, but I can only surmise that there too is hope with President-elect Trump, President Trump.
422 days to find out that your child was killed on day one, October 7th. There's a special place in hell for these terrorists called Hamas.
Yes.
And the family, the Nutra family that I sat with a few weeks ago, it was heartbreaking because the mom was acknowledging that people here in America didn't seem to care. I can't even imagine right now. You're talking about allies in terms of Mexico and Canada.
Bro, there are a lot of places around the world who are currently in some type of kerfuffle where people are in fact losing their, they're basically going extinct, guys. This is the reality of the planet. This is my concern here. Why Israel? Why does it matter to us? Maybe I'm missing something here. I understand allies and things like that, but that's not the reason for us for this entire segment to just be almost exclusively about America first, unless it's Israel. Is that the rule, or is there some other country that we need to be kind of putting into the bubble of America? Because Israel is not America, right? So there's a weird, America first, unless it's Israel. I'll remember this going forward, I guess, guys.
Can you imagine what our enemies are thinking right now? I mean, the trade is getting dangled. I mean, everything is going, all the things are happening. And the one thing that they have, a word that you will often hear when you interview people on other continents is they believe Trump. It's a kind of a trust based on fact of action that Biden is completely without.
That's valid.
Part of the damage that we've seen in our relationships with countries around the world is because, well, we all know he lies. They don't trust him either. I mean, he just pardoned his son after saying over and over and over and getting other people to lie too. Oh, Russia's the hoax, blah, 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 all of it.
They both lie.
All of it, all of it, all of it. I'm going to let my kid go free. You don't think that our enemies don't see that? Because I know they see it. So for our enemies, you mentioned Soleimani and others, that Israel also now is taking out people that are our enemies. We should send them a fruit basket. We're working in concert. Now it's time to go get our people. We don't leave our people behind. It's embarrassing in this country that we have a commander-in-chief who was willing to.
Doesn't talk about him.
He doesn't even mention it. So now it's time for action. And so on behalf of those families, Trump takes action. He can't bring back people who were killed on October 7th, but he can hopefully bring back enough remains to know, just like what I witnessed in Vietnam, to know that those lives counted and will be accounted for.
And you got 4 Americans still there at least.
Yes. I mean,
exactly. And we talked to the families today.
And we know when Hamas gets pressure pushed on them, they kill people right there, right on the battlefield, before you can get there to rescue them. But we have precision artists in our military who can go in and make a cut and come back with people. And bring families, not just our own, but across the world, and bring families some closure and peace.
Okay.
Yeah, Hamas is still making payroll.
There are a lot of contradictions here, guys.
How are they making payroll?
Yeah.
Who's paying them?
Really? You don't know?
Talk to the family today.
Iran.
Making payroll.
Gosh.
Well, January 20th can't come fast enough, but at least in the interim, the world knows we have a new sheriff back in town.
Okay, guys, this is good, though. Now, don't get me wrong here, guys. I do think that Trump being about to be, let's say, inaugurated pretty soon, you guys read? I think that in itself will have the ability to kind of sway people's overall opinions about the United States of America, whether good or bad here, guys. Keep this in mind here. The majority of the rest of the world would not immediately, let's say, agree with Trump. I think it's a small worldview if you think that people are that the same, if that makes any sense. Again, guys, I live half the year in Spain, and I'm not sure they like him there. Example, but there are some places who most likely would, right? But I don't think that no one would think that we're playing around with him in office, and I think that's the overall point, right? That's the point, because even when I was in Spain the whole time he was in office the last time, for example. People's overall opinion of the United States of America is, for the most part, fear, right? I mean, fear of what he had the capability to do. You couldn't basically, figure out what he was about and things like that. That is strength in itself because, again, for those 4 years, no one messed with anything that was ours like that. But then as soon as he left, everyone that was trying to do something the whole time but was scared to death of actually doing anything, what did they do? Start doing it as soon as he left office, guys. In fact, with him in office, it does, the rest of the world, I would perceive at least, would definitely think that we were, in fact, the strongest nation on the planet. I think we are in terms of military, but I think that's it. But either way, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I do like the idea of putting America first. I do think that that's what we should be doing because, again, for those who actually pay taxes, guys, we need to see something back from it, okay? Period. We need to make sure we're seeing something that comes back to us that's meaningful to the entire society, rather than consistently having enough money, at least, or raising enough money in our taxes to send billions and billions of dollars to foreign nations that we have nothing to do with. I think until we can get back to being number one in everything, we should not be sending money out to other places that are number one or number two or number five. You get what I'm saying here, guys? I think that's the most important thing. We need to rebuild this country. We need to work on infrastructure. We need to work on finding things that, how about this, or educating individuals enough, let's say, so they can get to the point where AI won't just completely obliterate their job market, let's say. We need to find all of these things. We need to build up this country. We're giving too much money to foreign nations. Period. I don't care about any other. Listen, I get it. There are people with family that are currently most likely associated to some random country around the world. I get that. They're going through something terrible. I do not see the United States of America basically stepping up and funding those kerfuffles. So I don't understand why specifically we're giving any money to Israel. I don't grasp it. There are people with families in other nations that are in war. Now, if there are definitely, in fact, Americans over there, get these Americans back home, bro. What do you mean by that? That's not an acceptable thing to do, but to fund an entire country due to 4 Americans being there, that's a little crazy. Just go get the Americans. All right, come back and we can move on, guys. All right, because unfortunately, if you cannot take care of your sovereign nation, it shouldn't be sovereign. Let's go be honest. Make it the 51st state. I am down with making the United States of America 100 states. Every single country we give money to should just become a state and no longer have any type of like sovereignty. But all right. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. This is my lightsaber. Hey guys. You guys subscribe to the other channels, Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd, along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Oh, also, Mr. L. Boyd Discusses. Guys, check it out. And if you haven't heard it today, you're amazing.